can still totally happen. Thanks and welcome everybody to the Asian Arts Initiative, Asian American Artists Town Hall. This is surreal to be seeing my face doubling up. Okay, I'm Anne Ishii, Executive Director of the organization known as AAI. I recognize a lot of you, so I know there's not a ton of introduction needed, but we are a community-based arts organization based in North Chinatown, Philadelphia, though these days we are virtually meeting on the interwebs. I'd like to make an acknowledgement of the land we would be convening at were we meeting in person, which is always and ever our intention. One day, I cannot wait to see all of you in person, but let us acknowledge that we are mere stewards of land that was violently taken away from the Lenape people in Pennsylvania. And as we endeavor to acknowledge our stewardship, our organization is planning more thoughtful programming created and produced by Indigenous artists, and I can't wait to present that. In the meantime, our organization will be making contributions to organizations like We Are the Seeds. I also can't wait to introduce their work to you, our audience. And lastly, I know Selena's going to talk about the Philly Asian American Film Festival, and I just wanted to say I watched a movie called Waikiki. I can't recommend it enough. Just this very fresh perspective on indigeneity and the perspectives and the traditions and cultures and the real lived lives of Native Hawaiians. I just think it's so important that as an arts presenter and an arts organization, we center artists. So that's why we're all here, isn't it? The town hall is meant for artists to meet each other and for you all to pitch your projects. And maybe, I don't know, like in the past, this has felt a little bit like speed dating. It can, I don't know if that makes it too, if that's too much innuendo. This might just be a friendly chat, and I encourage you all to contribute. And I know Dave has a schedule and a short list, very, very low-key list of rules of engagement and some basic general operating procedures. I don't know why I'm talking like this, so Dave, you should take over, and I'm going to stop talking.
Okay. Thank you, Anne, for welcoming us into the space and into the room. It's great to see everybody. Let's see. We are going to start with the artist pitches and start with artist introductions. I think we're actually a little early, but so I'm going to, Joe, Ahmed, I'm going to put you on deck, and hopefully throughout the evening, I'll be able to let everybody know when you're on deck and when you can prepare. And hopefully, if you haven't signed up, I'm trying to keep everybody on a schedule so that we do keep this event within an hour. But so that means everybody has 3 minutes to present. So I'm going to try to let the next two people who are coming up know when it's their turn to present. I am trying to hold 2 open slots. So if you, as you're looking at these presentations, as you remember something that you might want to share with this group, this audience of peers, please get at me in the chat room. You can private message me, I believe. And yeah, just say, hey, I'd like a slot up on the agenda. We are right now for the first part of the meeting kind of restricting our user abilities to unmute, but hopefully as we get a little further into the evening, we could let go of those restrictions. In order to keep us on time, I will be doing 2 things that I hope you don't find too annoying. But as your timer ticks down, I'll let you know in my screen that you have 30 seconds left. So you might want to speed it up. And as we get to, if you're starting to go over time, I might start to play you off a little bit with the Artist Town Hall Classic, a little bit of the Jaws theme. All right, so hopefully that's not too invasive, but keeps us on track and on time. Let's see, anything else? Um, let's see. Yeah, keep in mind, we will be sending out an artist pitch packet. So every project that you're hearing about after the event, for everybody that signed up and registered, we will send you just a packet of every project you've heard tonight, and the contact info of each of the artists and organizers that are presenting, so that if you were interested, heard something but didn't quite, especially with emails are hard to listen to and then get down on paper. So we'll be sending a pitch packet out with that information. Without further ado, as we come up, Joe Ahmed, you are next. Without further ado, here's Joe. We are going to make Joe a co-host, because Joe is going to share their screen and let us know about the project.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dave. And hello, everyone. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces here on the interwebs. Okay, let me get my screen share happening here and we'll get it going. Can I just get a thumbs up from people if they are seeing this slideshow popping up? Oh, it is. And look at that confidence monitor. I see what happened. I love that. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Ahmed. I use he and they pronouns interchangeably. I'm one of the founding worker owners of a group called Obvious Agency. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about us and about this exciting new project that we have coming up. Because I have only 3 minutes, I'm going to do the fast talky thing. So forgive me if I'm going super fast for things. This project is called Care About Each Other Package, again, from Obvious Agency. Who is Obvious Agency? What a good question. Obvious Agency is co-owned by myself, Daniel Park, and Ariana Gass, who co-founded it. And we have a new pilot worker owner who is Kat Ramirez, who I'm sure many of you also know. So we are a worker-owned cooperative. We create interactive experiential art. We do that. We create our own artistic work and produce the work of our worker owners. We also partner with institutions, do educational engagements, all sorts of things. Fundamentally in our work, we're always looking at this concept of agency, right? How do workers, right? Worker owners have agency inside of workspaces? How do audiences have agency in the way that they're engaging with art, always looking to democratize and pass the mic wherever we can? What is Care About Each Other package? What a good question. It is a CSA box. It doesn't actually have a cat in it, as good as that GIF was. But what it does have, I'll actually go ahead and read this whole thing because this is like the key information. So this is a Care About Each Other package is filled with interactive art, handmade goodies, and swag. It is a CSA box filled with up to 15 tiny, beautiful, interactive performances that are crafted with care by our favorite local artists. It's a great gift for friends, families, partners, or just yourself. And this collection is made for you to play at your own pace in your own space. Each piece of art explores themes of reconnection across change, distance, and the unknowable. Each piece is made by a different local artist. There are pieces made by us, the Obvious Agency co-owners, as well as some of these amazing folks you see here. Good amount of Asian representation in there. Check it out. And you can see the full list of artists here. I'll leave it up for a second. You can also find this on our website. So I'm going to keep moving past it before you've necessarily had a chance to read everyone's names. We also have a few partner organizations and makers, local makers. So Macrame by Monday by Sam Tower will be embedding small little wonderful macrame in some of our slightly higher tier boxes, as well as Tea from Dirt Baby Farms, which is Evelyn Langley, Amalia Colon Nava, and Ariel Colella. And some boxes will also have mementos from different artistic companies around town. Surprise, if you get one of the higher tier boxes, you'll find some of those fun goodies. We'll be selling different boxes for different prices. So you can see these range from $55 up to the extra special of full $500. Go in with some friends and family members on that. These will all be available for pre-sale through our website, as well as at some locations around the city. And we'll have pickup events to get these between December 10th and December 19th. Pre-sales start on November 1st. I think we can't use chat right now, but I'll give you my email so you can get in touch. The last thing I'll say, Dave, I hear you, is the two ways you can get involved with this is either you can purchase the project, right? So you can email me here, jkahmed23@gmail.com, or at our website, which is obvious-agency.com. Hopefully I can put that in the chat later for you as well. Also, we're seeking sales and consignment partners, organizations to resell these boxes. So also, if you're connected with an organization that might be excited about that, reach out to me this email and you can find out more. Excited to share this with all of you.
right. Woo! Yeah, 3 minutes is tight. I'm sorry. I apologize. But hoping to honor everybody's time and give people, preserves the chance for people to hop in as well. Thank you so much, Joe. I failed to say this before this part, but Selena, you are up next. I hope you got the chat message that I sent. And then after Selena will be Esther. So Selena is going to hop on and tell us a little bit about the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival.
Hello. Sorry, just a fair warning, if I make like a face, it might be because my cat's biting me for attention, but this is her. My name is Selena Yip. I am the festival director for the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival. We have a festival coming up. It's our annual festival in November. So it starts on November 4th to the 14th. And we are doing a hybrid version of our festival this year. So if you were with us last year, what that means is that we're taking a component that we had last year at our virtual festival and incorporating some in-person events to sort of create a hybrid experience where folks who feel comfortable going to in-person events are welcome to come to very limited special events at Asian Arts Initiative. And then those who maybe want to stay home, enjoy the are able to rent all of the films that we have screening at our festival this year online. I will share the festival trailer. Hold on, sorry, this is very hard. It says it's host disabled participant screen share.
Yeah, your bandwidth is quite low.
James
so
can come on and share the PAF trailer. Is that correct, Selena?
Yeah.
Yeah, James can come on and share the trailer, I believe.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
your bandwidth is quite low. Your bandwidth is quite low right now, so I'll share it for you. Just give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Here is an excerpt from the October Gallery Art book, Connecting People with Art. This book is available at October Gallery.
paaff.org. It's paaff.org. And we have some discounted festival badges. And tonight is actually the last night for the discount, and then they will be regularly priced after tonight. So if you're interested in doing online rentals, definitely check out those festival badges. And then if you're interested in coming to very limited socially distanced in-person events at Asian Arts Initiative, you can purchase tickets there as well and register for some pretty cool performances by some awesome folks who some are pitching today and some are not. But yeah, it's a cool time, so come out. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Selena. That trailer is dope. That makes me so excited for the festival. Good job. Of course, the film festival is going to put together an awesome trailer. Thank you, Selena. Next up, we're going to hear from Esther Castillo. And then after that, it's an open slot. We just opened up the chat a little bit. I'm feeling good in the room. I recognize the names. Thank you all for registering in advance. So if you want to take that open slot, please sign up. You can send a direct message to me. But yeah, for now, we are going to give the floor to Esther to talk about their project.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther Castillo, and thank you so much for allowing me to speak in this space. This is my first time speaking with you all. I recognize some of you, but a lot of you I don't know. I am a local organizer, and I come into the organizing scene pretty recently, I think right after the pandemic has started, and I am the founder and director of what we call 6p, which is the Chinese. Oops, can I share my screen, Dave? It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Thank you. Thanks. So I founded this program. Now it got adopted and by PCDC, the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, but then it was born as an independent program a couple years ago, right before the pandemic, right before the lockdown, and our goal is to promote and foster mental health in the Asian community, and we work with local mental health professionals. I myself has also been a long-time advocate. Before it was mostly I come from academia, but I quit for various reasons. And I have been a long-time advocate for social justice issues, and also racial justice issue. I myself is a Chinese Nicaraguan, so I'm bicultural. And so our slogan or mission or philosophy for our program is community is where wellness begins. So we do a lot of, we think about how to change the outside external environment to make our people better and healthier, and how to develop community care. And the latest project that I am working on is this Black and Asian solidarity building thing. At first, we had this idea of throwing this big event, and you see I crossed out everything that was described there. It was very quickly after, I wanted to do this because, first of all, I have been serving the Black youth community for a long time as an after-school counselor, and also a lot of my close friends and my best friend are Black folks, and so we have been privately talking about how to do solidarity work between the Black and Asian community. And at first we had this grand idea of throwing this big event with food and everything else. But then soon after we started this process, we decided that the energy was not quite authentic and we weren't going to the right direction. And so it became something else, and we changed the name, we changed the logo. And right now, I know it's like a baby infant idea. And yesterday we finally get together a group of folks who are what we call these in between people. We got a couple Malaysian folks. We've got folks who have been engaged in racial justice work, either personally or at a community level, to join us to have some conversation about how to build this movement. So what I need, we wanted to do this luncheon thing regularly. We have raised some money to pay for those lunches and meals and just have like conversations. So this is the Give Butter page is our fundraising page. And if you want to get into this working group of talking about Black and Asian solidarity, link up with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Again, the chat is open. Yeah, that 3 minutes goes quick, but the chat is open if you want to drop any links. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for sharing your work with us, especially with your first time here. It takes a lot of guts. And speaking of, we were about to go into our first presentation, but we did have somebody take us up on the opportunity to sign up and pitch. That's awesome. That is that's the hope here at the Artist Town Hall. So I'm going to give the floor to Casey. And then afterwards, we're going to hear from Timanya. You're on deck. We're going to hear our first presentation of the evening. But Casey, you are up for the last artist pitch.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Hello, everyone. My name's Casey. My pronouns are he, they. This is very much a spur of the moment decision, so I'll try to make it a coherent presentation of my work under 3 minutes. Currently, I'm a second year grad student in the Master of Environmental Studies program at Penn. Recently moved to Philly about 2 months ago, and this is my first engagement with the Asian Arts Initiative, and really enjoying it thus far. And in the environmental studies program, I primarily look at degrowth, which is this framework that presupposes that infinite economic growth on a planet with finite resources is impossible and disastrous, meaning that we have to rechange everything or restructure everything, reimagine how we relate with each other, and create institutions, practices, relationships that center care, autonomy, sufficiency, planetary, social, and ecological justice. And in particular, I look at degrowth as it applies to social media. So how can degrowth inform the evolution of social media? And art comes into this because I'm looking at this through the lens of multimodal work, specifically video work. I have a performance background. I have a BFA in acting and have experience in professional theatrical settings, and as well as experience in videography. So thus far, I've been making TikToks about my research, about the process of conducting this research for my master's capstone. And the vision is that this will culminate in a short film where I present my research about how to build a social media inspired by degrowth. So that's one narrative. And then the other narrative is like an animated short that actually shows this social media being used by a community and a family in some sort of fictional scenario. That's later down the line though, but for now I'm making these TikToks. I also have a short film that I've made and was screened at some academic conferences internationally this past summer in Canada and in the Netherlands. Yeah, so I guess at this point in the process, there's some grants deadlines coming up, or one specific one at Penn. And so if anyone has any grant writing advice, I would love to get that. Happy to have some wisdom. And yeah, that's more or less it. Just multimodal work looking at social media. How can we transform social media such that it doesn't eat at our souls and at the planet, and also how to communicate the process of rebuilding social media via video and art and performance. Yeah, and thanks for your time, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Casey, for stepping up at your first town hall. We are going to move into our first presentation of the evening. Our theme for this season is, just like Casey was talking about, care. How do we look at revolutionary care and how care comes into play in our fields? We are so pleased to hear tonight from Timanya Garza of the Parent Artist Advocacy League for the Performing Arts and Media. Timanya, the floor is yours. Let us know about what you're doing.
All right, hello, welcome everyone. And I wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me to present to this wonderful group. And I'm also really excited about all the pitches I've already seen. So I'm glad I got to see those as well. So first thing, yes, I am here from the Parent Artist Advocacy League for Artists, for Performing Artists in Media. That's PAAL. And we are a national community and resource hub and a solutions generator for individuals with caregiver responsibilities and institutions who strive to support them. So basically what that is we are a group of caregivers in the arts, and we strive to create a culture of care with each other and also in our institutions. And what I'm here today to do is talk just a little bit about my work. I am actually the National Director of Community and Justice Initiatives, and I'm also the local Philadelphia Chief Rep for PAL. And I am a theater maker. I am a director and a producer locally. And what we have done, I also have a little one. These are all my little one's posters from school. I am sitting at their desk right now. So I am thanking them for lending me their gorgeous background. And I basically what I want to do today is just talk a little bit about our work and the different pieces. So we have a piece that is a support piece for artists and who are caregivers. Now, just to talk about what caregiving is certainly people who caregive for children, but it can also be people who caregive for elders, people who caregive for people with disabilities, and people who have both of those responsibilities. I'm a member of the sandwich generation, so I have both elder care responsibilities and I have a young child. So all of those people fall under the umbrella of caregiving. And we like to say that even if you're not a caregiver right now, there will absolutely probably be a point in your life where you will become one. And having this information and this connection to advocacy is a great tool to have in your toolkit, both as a person and as someone who runs an institution. So a couple of the things, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can I get the screen share enabled?
It is.
Okay. Oh, it's saying it's disabled. Sorry about that.
I'm so
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's saying that.
my
Oh, there we go.
apologies. I
Okay,
fixed it.
great. No, that's okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so first things first, just to this down a little bit. Just to talk about who we are, this is our website, paltheater.com. Obviously, we work with a number of different kinds of artists. I know many people here are visual artists and other things, but that was the group who started, the person who started was Rachel Spencer Hewitt, and she is an actor and theater artist. So these are a lot of the resources we have. Just to talk through them, we have a bunch of things available. A piece of what we do is we often have meetings and affinity groups, sometimes in person, sometimes right now over Zoom, to support caregivers. We have spaces for all sorts of caregivers and specific affinity groups for single moms, for caregivers of elderly people, for, we have all these affinity groups. We also have grants. We have all of these grants that you see here, and they are just completely open grants. So often when we receive grants as artists, they're very specifically for our work. These are to pay for babysitting. These are to, help out with meals for the people who are watching your children or the people who you care for. These are for anything that makes sense for you. So because these funds are unrestricted, they're different than any other grants, and you can apply both as an individual and as part of an institution putting on some sort of project or performance. We also are an advocacy group. A lot of times, and I just want to share this next piece here. This is what's called our new standard of care. We have written this as sort of our bill of intention that talks about what we are and what we do and what we're really dedicated to in our work. So the first thing is you cannot have an anti-racist organization without formal caregiver support. And the reason that's important is because so in this radical reimagining that has hopefully been happening for a lot of organizations and individuals over the past few months and years, and most of us have been experiencing this our whole lives, but it's coming to the forefront with many institutions. As we make this impact with anti-racist work, we want to make sure that we're considering how that intersects with caregiving. And so often people who carry the heaviest load are caregivers or one of the heavier loads, because the intersection of race and gender and all of these other items make it so that the workload is incredible and it is not supported, even though legally it should be in most institutions. So that goes to our second point. You cannot have gender parity or gender inclusion without formal caregiver support. And that is so often because the work of caregiving falls to people who are femmes and who take on those responsibilities because that is culturally what we've been taught to do or where we've been taught to place that labor. And so if you are inviting in people of all genders into your organization, there has to be a support system for when and if they caregive. And you cannot support reproductive rights without formal caregiver support. To say that an organization supports reproductive rights, but then to have no formal caregiving plan for when a human becomes pregnant or when someone needs to take time off to caregive that hasn't been thought out in advance, and to wait for those people to have to advocate for themselves is a system that A, again, is not legal, and B, is not supportive of caregivers. So we have all of this gorgeous research, and then we also have action steps that people can take. So to speak to that, the second piece of what we do is advocacy. So all the way from the most granular level of talking to people one-on-one and offering HR support via HR meetings with artists, we also can go all the way up and do trainings and HR specific trainings if needed for organizations to make sure that they're meeting their caregiving responsibilities. And to talk a little bit about that, we have, well, first of all, I want to introduce this one over here. We also have this incredible resource, the PAL National Handbook of Best Practices, which just came out this year. And it has all of these, you can see here, pregnancy, language, personal experiences, physical body. We also have lots of case studies, facts, information on how to start things like a caregiving fund, or how to bring minors into the space. For instance, if you want to have caregiving on site, who you can work with, what the insurance looks like. We have all of that information here, what your responsibilities are under FMLA, which is the Family Medical Leave Act. So we have this great resource. It's free, it's online. Please come visit our website and get it. It's paltheater.com/handbook, and all of these links will be sent out to you. So it's a lot of resources to kick off your caregiver support journey and to ask questions for yourself. One question we get asked all the time is, what questions can someone ask me in an interview? Or what questions can I ask in an interview? And we even have simple rubrics like this that will sort of say acceptable questions, unacceptable questions. And there are even instances where, for example, you can ask about certain things, but you have to ask all interviewees. You can't just ask someone that you suspect has a caregiving responsibility. So we have a lot of support in the advocacy, making sure that artists know their rights, and if they need support getting to them, meeting with their higher ups, creating a caregiving plan, all of that, we can help everyone do that. And that's a big part of what we do. We're a national organization. We also have done some work internationally. So we're very experienced in different locales and different legal systems, things like that. We also have more information about how anti-racism and caregiving intersect. And we have all sorts of resources and all sorts of links. And again, I'm trying to go them pretty quickly just to honor the time. But part of that is we have things like these slides. These are slides that were created for International Mother Artists Day a few years ago by myself, PAL, and the Philadelphia Women's Theater Festival. And they're just things that talk about how things like gender or sexuality or disability intersect with being a member of the BIPOC community. So we've done a lot of the research, we have a lot of the information, and more importantly, we have a great toolkit to help you get started. Excuse me. We also have great, incredible members. You may all have heard of Nicole Brewer. She does a lot of anti-racist training. Some of you may have taken her wonderful training. She also is part of our organization, and we have a lot of anti-racist practices within our organization that are there to make sure we have what's called a vertical 50-50. So to ensure that leaders at every level are engaged with anti-racist work, are educated on anti-racist work, and if someone is trying to rise within the ranks, they have support at every level from someone who reflects their own life experience. So that is a little bit about PAL. We also have really exciting meetups coming this December. We have what's called the PAL Summit. And there we bring together a bunch of thought leaders and a bunch of experts and a bunch of caregivers, and we talk about things that are important to us right now. And this year, while we're actually creating the sessions right now, but what's on our mind is artists gathering in the time of COVID, or how do we support people who have unvaccinated children who can't get vaccinated yet? Things like, what are our financial responsibilities, as caregiving looks so different in the time of COVID, and it can be so unexpected for people. And what I like to say for a lot of people, because so often people say, well, I don't have, an elderly parent, I don't have anyone that's disabled in my life, I don't have a child, is you never know when that might change. I became one of the caregivers for my father last year when he had a brain aneurysm, and one moment he was talking to me, the next moment he was in the ICU. And that was nothing I could have anticipated. And had it not been for Pal helping me advocate with his doctors, helping me advocate with his caregivers, helping me advocate with people who were responsible for him, and knowing that footwork had already been done for me, I would have been sitting next to his bed trying to make some really life-changing decisions on my own and not knowing my legal rights. So, this is who we are. We're here. We're going to have some local meetups coming soon. They're all going to be virtual. But we would like to welcome any caregivers in the space, or anyone who would like to learn about caregiving. We also do consulting. So if you would like to come to us for, a free 30-minute check-in, we absolutely have to offer that. And beyond that, we can offer things like compassion training, or training about the HR ins and outs of how to do work with caregivers. We absolutely grow and change with the caregiver needs. This is a young organization. We've only been around for about 5 years. But in that time, we have worked to radically change what spaces are inviting and supportive for caregivers. And we would love to activate all of you to help us do that work as well, or to ask us any questions to get us, moving in the direction of how we can make this work more accessible to everyone.
Wow, thank you. That was a lot of information. I want to invite you to breathe for a second. And I'm curious, you'll be around a little bit to hang out and answer any questions in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. And one thing is, I know sometimes people have personal questions that they don't want to ask in front of the group. You can sort of private chat with me, or I can drop my email address in here, and all of those links I talked about will be accessible afterwards in the pitch packet. So I will drop my email address though right now, just so you have it.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like a lot to dive into. I'm curious. What has been the reaction from the field? You said you've just been around for about 5 years. You put together a lot of these packets trying to influence the industry at large, but I'm curious are you getting pushback? Are you getting a lot of like, yes, but, or, are these policies being adopted widely?
I think what's really exciting at PAL, we like to say we didn't invent caregiver support. Like, there have been lots of people doing this work for years and years and years, especially in theater. So to team up with those people has been really exciting. Absolutely, there's pushback. We have had things like the weaponization of the word choice. It was your choice to have a child. It's your choice to care for your parent. It's, and things like that. So we will always get that. We hear that we don't have enough money. Oh, how can we have a caregiver fund? Then everyone's going to want money. And it's like, it can start with as little as like $100, that you put aside. It's really easy to fundraise for. You can talk to your board about it, and so we get lots of different answers, but we also get overwhelmingly just these stories coming out of people having needed support and not having it, and just loving that now they can go somewhere, because there's a lot of shame around caregiving. I remember when I was pregnant, I literally would not go to theater events so people wouldn't know I was pregnant. And I had a board meeting the night before I was due because I just didn't want to admit anything was changing. And I think luckily that is not the case anymore. I would not feel like I had to do that again to be rehired as a director. So I think change is coming, and it has been really radical change in the last few years. So again, just talking to groups like this, where we have all of these incredible minds and these wonderful organizations, often it starts with smaller organizations first. They are the ones that have invested the most deeply.
Certainly that change is coming thanks to the work that PAL is doing as well. So thank you for doing the work. Thank you for sharing it with us. Yeah, you dropped your email, and you'll hang out a little bit if anyone wants to kind of share a group chat or a private chat with you. Yeah, thank you, Tamanya. Okay. All right, so we got to stretch our legs a little bit with a different pace. That was one of two presentations that we'll be hearing tonight. And then we're going to get back into the swing of things with a few more artist pitches. We have a packed schedule, but I'm holding one more open slot if anybody does want to jump in and share a project. But first up, we're going to welcome Anne Ishii back into the room to tell us about the CARE exhibition and the thing at Asian Arts Initiative that is holding us down. And then next, Heidi is going to come on and tell us about the television project. So Anne, you go first, Heidi second.
Hi. I'm going to keep my comments short, but since we're all on Zoom, I know you can get on a computer and go to asianartsinitiative.org to find out more about our exhibition this year themed around CARE. I think Tamanya did such an incredible job of expounding on the virtues and the realities of caregiving. This show at Asian Arts Initiative is a reflection on what I think we all recognized as almost 2 years now of extraordinary caregiving we've really had to improvise because of the pandemic and the shutdown. And I'll just share anecdotally, for example, our own organization had very internecine policies around working from home and conflating that with caregiving. We've totally rewritten that part of the policy, right? So these days it would be unheard of for any manager to suggest a person couldn't work from home and keep 1 or 1.5 eyeballs on the people in their roost. So just taking that and kind of explaining my own recipient of care screaming in the background. In a nutshell, you can come to the building at 1219 Vine Street any Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday until the end of the, well, minus holidays, whatever, 2 to 6 p.m. We have a community fridge. We welcome you to contribute to it or take from it as you need. It's lately become a really popular lunch spot. So I think if you're in the neighborhood and just feel like snacking with us, it's a great place to be. We have a community library, and we're also a satellite station for television. I'll let Heidi, and looks like Connie's online too, explain what that is. And we have some upcoming events. Miriam Durrani will be giving a roti demonstration the week of Thanksgiving as an intergenerational cooking practice where recipes are handed from generation to generation and you make a lot of it so you can share. And we have a family day on December 4th. Where we'll be featuring a keynote speech by Angela Garbez, who wrote Like a Mother and has recently been writing a lot of editorials in places like New York Magazine, talking about invisibilized labor and radical mothering, which isn't limited by gender. But most immediately, we have a block party on Saturday, and the care there is just that partying is really good for you, I think, but everybody should show up. And Josh is going to talk a little bit about the mural that we're celebrating at that, and I'll let him do that later. Just go to the website. Not just, I insist you make that a priority. Okay, 30 seconds. I'm gonna beach to it. I don't even want to hear that melodica. I'm done.
Ooh, oh, very good. I'm glad I didn't have to play you off, Anne. Thank you for telling us about the CARE exhibition. Everybody check out the exhibition at Asian Arts. Next, we're going to toss it to, oops, I'm playing myself.
You're playing yourself off, yeah.
Stop talking, Dave. Next, we're going to hear from Heidi and Connie. I believe they're going to tell us about both television and the Fortune projects. So yeah, you have 2 projects. You don't have to stick to the 3 minutes. You have 6 minutes, but then after that, we're going to hear from Jay Lee from APIPA. So yeah, take it away, Heidi. Take it away, Connie.
Hey everybody, Heidi here from television. I am one of 3 sort of like founders of television, and we're currently in the CARE exhibition space. Television is a low-cost, affordable AV rental project, and here in Philly, we just started maybe like 6 months ago, and we have the satellite rental station at Asian Arts. Come check it out. We're there till December 18th, and television has like
all types of audio equipment from like karaoke kits to projectors to PA systems. I'm going to drop the website so you can check out what kind of things we have there and how to rent from us. And yeah, come check out some of the equipment at Asian Arts while you can.
You're gonna pass it to me, Heidi?
And I'm passing it to Connie.
Cool. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see the Care Show at Asian Arts. Thank you for hosting, Dave. Thank you for sharing this space. This is our like maybe 4th or 5th town hall and still loving it. I'm gonna share my screen now. May I share my screen now? Cool, thank you. Great, and I will be presenting on behalf of Manyfolds Press, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about what we've been up to and who we are. I'm out of practice here. Okay, cool. So we are a risograph studio based in Philadelphia, and we're sort of opening our doors for the first time this year. We were formed out of Fortune, which is a print collective assembled by and for queer and trans Asians that started in 2019. And we think of Manyfolds Press as the publishing arm and the printing arm for that. And our larger goal is to work towards more accessible print resources, responsive particularly to local print needs from queer and trans people of color. And by accessible, a note on that, we mean we will try to work with anybody on their budget. And also because we're not an institution or an organization proper, we think of our work as part of the community. So hope to keep that there. And I guess with accessible, I should also talk a little bit about the risograph, which is the machine we print on. It is mostly used for art printing. It is not as cheap or available as Xerox is these days, but we can make some pretty cool things on it. We think about it as digital screen printing. So there's a little bit of a look to it, and I'll show you that next. This is a placemat we created recently for a trip we took to Chicago, sourcing materials from queer Asian publications between 1970 and now. And we like to document wherever we go and whatever we do. So we have made this into a functional object, which is something we do with, I don't know, a lot of the events that we have organized as Fortune, and now we're printing them under the name Manyfolds Press. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the mail library, which is something we're really excited to present, and we're wrapping up production now. So the mail library is a bundle of 8 new works that we've produced this year. That includes 2 new works, which you'll see here. On the left is a health rater by Lucia Garzon, and it's an interactive poster that adapts the health radar from her late grandmother, who created this in Colombia, and includes sort of recipes and treatments for various ailments based on native plants. On the right here, you'll see a book from Our Mother's Kitchens, and it includes writings and photographs from the past 2 years of their summer workshop for Black girls. The mail library also includes 5 what we're calling annotated readers, and those are reprints of, I guess I'll go back to the screen. Those are reprints of publications by and for queer and trans organization, or queer Asian organizations between 1970 and 2000. And we also pass those readers along. Oh, okay, thanks, Dave. We also pass those readers along to people in community to annotate. So you'll see a lot of notes and marginalia there. And we're not selling these libraries, we're just passing them around for month-long rentals as like vis-a-vis a library. And you can sign up for those here. So we'll leave these QR codes up for a second, and you can read more about the project here. I'll also drop the link in the chat. Okay, thank you so much. And you can follow us and you can reach out to us at these, these places. Okay, thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Heidi. I tried to put a little bit of melancholy in my playoff music. I felt so bad having to play you off. I don't know if you heard it. Cool. Okay. So next up, we have Jay Lee. Jay is going to tell us a little bit about their project, 6p-8p. And then after Jay, on deck is going to be A.D. Herzl telling us about Seeds of the East. But Jay Lee, you're up.
Hi, everybody. So some of you know me as Chongmok Lee. I have been to town hall talking about my projects as an artist, but today I'm here as Jay Lee from APIPA, Asian Pacific Islander Political Alliance. For folks who are not familiar with us, we are the first ever political organization directly advocating for the need of Asian Pacific Islander in Pennsylvania, led by and for our community. Today, I'm here to introduce you to two of our new programs. One is our Research Canvas program, and the other is Seed Fellowship. So first is our Research Canvas program. So we are currently hiring paid canvassers for its fall 2021 Research Canvas program, which will focus on connecting with Asian Pacific Islander communities at the door in South Philadelphia and Upper Darby to get a better sense of their experience of the 2020 election and their political needs. Canvassers, also known as door knockers, if you're not familiar with canvassing work, can work between 12 to 40 hours a week and will be paid like $15 to $20 per hour. We are also planning to launch our SEED, which stands for Strategy, Empowerment, Education, and Development Fellowship Program in January 2022. It is a paid fellowship program for those looking to organize and take on leadership in Asian Pacific Islander community in Southeast Pennsylvania. So you have an opportunity to get paid to learn how to connect with our diverse community, elect representative of, by, and for us, and build a state that finally works for all of us that call this place home. So the application is actually due midnight November 15th, 2021. I will be dropping some links right here in the chat. The first one is the Research Canvas program. And the fellowship is right here. Let me see. These links will be also sent through the Pocket, I think later by Dave. I know last year and this year has been really, really hard for us, as in, hard for everybody and also like the Asian community with dealing with violence and also a lot of like tragic events. And personally, like knowing that, especially being in Philadelphia, knowing like there is an Asian community that exists that I can go to and connect with has been really comforting and helpful to my mental health and growth as an individual. So if you have been always feeling like you want to take action and you want to contribute and participate in connecting with API community, like I think this is a really great opportunity for you to learn to how to equip yourself and get the tools that you need to take action and lead and connect with our community here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jay. Great to hear about APIPA continuing its work, especially, I guess, not just during the last year, but because of the events of the last year. Thank you for sharing that work with us. Okay, so we are running a little over time, so we are going to. Nobody else asked me to present, so we are going to make this next presentation our last. We're going to hear from A.D. Herzl. Actually, it's the last pitch, but then we are going to hear a presentation from one artist. Josh Cochran is going to tell us a little bit about the mural that he is painting on Pearl Street. But I think for this next artist pitch, we are going to watch a video. James is going to play a video for us about the Seeds of the East project by A.D. Herzl. And then A.D. will pop on a little bit just to say hello.
Seeds from the East, the Korean Adoptee Portrait Project. On April 13th, 1968, I was found in a market in South Korea. Holt Adoption Agency declared me an orphan and took over my guardianship. I was named, given an April 18th birth date, put in a foster home, and on a queue for adoption. In 1970, after living with a foster family for 2 years, I was taken from Korea, stripped of my culture, denied my language, given a new name and a new identity in the United States. Over the past year, as an artist working in the pandemic, coping with the new onslaught of Asian American fear and vilification, I have been delving into my history and the stories of other imported Asian Americans. This project features my portrait drawings of adoption photos, as well as golden mirror drawing silhouettes. For many adoptees, our stories begin with a small black and white overexposed adoption photo with a name tag and a number. These images mark the time of our surrender, our institutional identity, and they are often the last vestige of our birth culture. The image is a gatekeeper to our history. It is the advertisement for our prospective identities. Our adoptive parents were given these images as the promise for their desires. I have always held these photos with reverence. The portraits I draw engage my participants in a process of reflection. I interview them, and we share our stories. I then render the work to honor and bear witness to each of their past and present lives. For some, the trauma of their dislocation and re-identification in new families is traumatic, and for others, the stories of their transitions are generally positive. For many of us, reconciling our lives before and after that moment in the photograph engages us in a continual balancing act of self-re-identification. And for myself, the search for peace within multiple identities and realities is ongoing.
Hi. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Dave, for inviting me to this space. I'm really enjoying the program. I just wanted to say hi, and half of the part of the project really is the exhibit and my interviews with the participants, as well as advocacy and building awareness for transracial adoptees and mental health. So the kickoff exhibit is going to be in Media, PA at the Philip Jason House. And that is a really important place for Korean American immigrants, and really special for Korean adoptees to have an exhibit there. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that work. Um, so we're going to move on to our last presenter of the evening. Josh Cochran is a Taiwanese American illustrator and muralist living in Brooklyn. He also teaches at the School of Visual Arts in New York. And for the past month, we've been able to watch Josh at work painting a brand new mural on Pearl Street. We've been so impressed by his dedication and his work. And Josh is here to tell us a little bit about that mural that's coming up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Cochran. Thanks for the intro, Dave. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my process and sort of inspiration behind my mural. Like Dave mentioned, my name. I work as an illustrator primarily, and I got my career started working for clients like the New York Times and a lot of sort of corporate clients and tech companies like Google and Apple, etc. And the work has been really great in a way because a lot of it is conceptual and I'm sort of solving problems and coming up with visual solutions to all of it. But I've been working as an illustrator now for I think around 16 years, and maybe like 11 years ago I found some opportunities to work at a larger scale doing murals. And I've really found making murals as a way to kind of express myself and also exercise my voice as an artist. So that's been really incredible for me. And this has really been an amazing opportunity for me to really kind of go wild. I wasn't really sure how to start this project. I was basically given free rein from Anne and Dave to kind of have at it. And sometimes when there's like no brief, especially for a commercial artist, it's sort of kind of felt a little bit lost in the beginning. But I was reflecting a little bit on some past projects that I've really been inspired by, and I thought of a project that I did that I have been doing for like 8 or 9 years, and do it with another artist, and actually collaborate with a lot of other artists, both around the East Coast and all over the US. And basically we give people an opportunity to pose for us. And we have a exhibition after the drawing session where all the drawings are sold for $20, like really cheap drawings. And each pose is like 3 minutes long, so it's like really, really fast. And the idea behind this project was basically wanted to recreate this academic, or recreate kind of the joy of drawing from an academic setting, but without all the kind of like sterile academic environment, like kind of make a grown-up version of figure drawing. And at first I wasn't sure if there was really going to be much interest in it. And I'm actually going to share my screen here. I wasn't sure if there was going to be much interest at first. So I just, but I was really surprised because a lot of people were like super down to get naked and, let themselves be drawn by 10 or less artists, and these drawings were really interesting to me because they let's say I skipped some because they were like so fast and I didn't have to overthink it. And, you know, there was like a certain amount of panic when I'm drawing it, you know, so much so that like I didn't really like get too much in my head or wasn't like too self-conscious about the lines I was making. And there was just something about these drawings that I wanted to recreate for this mural, or some sort of energy about them that I wanted to bring into this mural. And I was also thinking, you know, quite a bit about the past year and a lot of the kind of like a lot of the things that we've gone through. Sorry, I went the other way. As Asians living here in America and around the world. And I just really wanted to do something kind of a little bit in response to that, like something that was a little bit more joyful or exuberant. And I had an idea of doing these dancers. So some of these drawings are also from, I also teach a class at SVA, and these were Zoom sessions where basically the model couldn't be nude. And I was just like drawing out of a tiny little Zoom screen. And it was like a really sort of frustrating time. You know, I was like trying to teach and, you know, kids were like falling asleep on the Zoom screen. And it was just really kind of a weird time for me. But I went back through my sketchbook and found these drawings, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll blow these up really big, like 28 feet tall, and scatter them along Pearl Street. So yeah, I felt like there was like something about these drawings that I wanted to kind of bring over. And I'll show you all the sketches. So this is an early iteration of the mural. And as you can see, you might recognize some of the figures from my sketchbook that I brought over. This is sort of an early version where I kind of had an idea with these sort of like muted colors, but ultimately,
Josh, if I could
yeah.
just interrupt for a second, you shared only the one window, so you'll have to stop your share and start it with the other window that you're trying to
Oh, okay,
share.
thanks. Okay. Here we go. How's that?
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, so I started with these kind of muted colors, but ultimately ended with what I'm working on now, which is something a little bit brighter. You know, I wanted to really transform that alleyway and change the, you know, the entire vibe of it. There was quite a bit of back and forth with Dave, especially about priming the wall white because there was a lot of graffiti on it and there was like a pre-existing mural. So in the interest of saving myself time and energy, I just decided to keep the background white and paint directly on top of it. And for me, there's something really interesting about making a sketch very fast, you know, like taking a drawing that I did really casually in my sketchbook and blowing it up really, really big, and then painstakingly working on it. Let's see if I can, sorry. Like, you know, some people ask about process or whatever. It's really just as simple as just slowly painting in every little bit on the wall, you know, and something really satisfying to me about painting in all the tiny little crevices. You know, this is also like on a wall that's made out of cinder blocks. And so there's like sort of an interesting like geography on top of the wall. So for me, in a way, it becomes a bit like a sculpture. This is from today. This is kind of a peek at where we're at right now. So as you can see, we're kind of doing it piece by piece. The wall was a bit different than the elevation and then my plan that I wanted to pursue. But I am cutting up the figures. I sort of like spread them out a little bit and position them in between these grates and also the kind of the motion lines that I'm painting around them. I spreading them out, and then once I get to a certain place, hopefully this will be like Thursday or Friday. I'll kind of go in and connect some of these shapes and colors. I'm working with two other assistants, Aaron and May, and they've, it's been really amazing kind of experience. I'm also training for the Philly Marathon, which is coming up later in November, I believe. So, I'm kind of in this like sweet spot of grinding on the wall and long distance running, in my off time. And it's been really incredible for me and very satisfying experience. Quite a bit like a artist residency. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know if that was, I kind of wanted to like go to the point where Dave you would play the music for me, but maybe I won't quite make it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's it. I'll drop my social tags in the chat, so you all can check out some stuff, and yeah, and also come out on Saturday and help us fill in some of these shapes. I'm leaving like a bunch of stuff on the bottom so everyone can like go in and help paint a little bit.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
I think I'm up.
Yep, and you are up.
Cool. We've come to the part of the night where you watch me eat food, or maybe not. We'll watch Josh while I talk about eating food. And so as Josh mentioned, we do have a block party this Saturday. You can meet all of us in the flesh, and I know how precarious that sounds in the day of COVID, but our rules are just you stay masked and please be vaccinated. That's the extent of our security on that front. Am I on screen? I can't tell.
Yes,
okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, Pearl Street Block Party. It's the first one in 6 years, and I can't even begin to tell you how impressive this mural is. You really have to see it yourself, and a lot of that information Josh is referring to just in the detail and that level of sort of attention and the contradictions of doing something fast and then slowing the process down, writing in a notebook based on a Zoom Windows model to the expansion across a ginormous wall really translates to, I think, the virtue of Philadelphia, right? Like we're just a series of contradictions and we love it. That juxtaposition is what really makes this city so magnificent and interesting. So I want to name all of the partners on the block where we share this alley. But for example, the owner of the building, Roman Catholic High School, all boys parochial high school, very conservative values, but we've been working with them to amplify art. And I love that it's based on nudes. There's something very sort of like that's a low key diss subtweet at the Catholic Church. I'm sorry for Catholic. I'm not trying to offend, but it's just kind of funny. They share a wall with what I describe as a pagan temple for Chinese folk community. There's a U-Haul station, and then the alley is bookended by an amazing homeless shelter, the Sunday Breakfast Rescue Mission. They actually do a lot of things, serving members of the homeless community. And then on the other end of the block, we have it's gentrification central with condos that even artists can't afford to live in. Artists like Josh, I mean, who've worked for Google and Apple. Artists like Dave live in Glenside. I don't know why I'm making fun of people. Maybe that's part of radical caregiving. It is. I'm declaring it so. So the Pearl Street Block Party, if that wasn't enough incentive, we're having an amazing lineup of programming curated by Yolanda Wisher, who almost needs an introduction, but once the poet laureate of Philadelphia and sort of the goat of, all things poetry culture in the city. There will be pairings of poets and MCs with DJs. Cinta Storms of Madero is actually going to be surfacing as a rapper on Saturday. She's usually known as a performer. Lyrspect, also Michelle Myers of Yellow Rage, with DJs Dweegi 13 or Dweegi Machinda. And then DJ Q Massa, also known as the co-founder and owner of Dubsty, which is a really interesting group based out of Bed-Stuy, but based on the tradition of sound system culture of Jamaica. And I love that tradition as an exposition of, the Black and Asian mixed heritages and the intersections of our culture. So it's going to be so dope. And food will be provided by, this gets the award for best play on words. Shree's Company is a Sri Lankan food purveyor, because dad jokes are also radical caregiving. And we will, hello. If you can't see, Dave has just introduced his little one of his two little ones. And if it rains, it won't, because God's looking out for us and we have a deal with the Roman Catholics and the Chinese pagans. But if it does rain, just be prepared to get a little soggy. It's fine. We can handle it. Please come to our exhibition. I told you a little bit about it. I already told you, you can go to the website for more information. Yes, we've covered our bases with the heavens. That's right. What am I forgetting? That's it. I think that's everything you need to know for this week. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and spending the hour with us. And Dave, what did I forget? Anything? I didn't, right?
Thank you for sharing space with us. We so look forward to the next Artist Town Hall, which is going to be next spring, to being in person. But I think we are grateful to continue to make this space and share this space with artists of Asian descent. And yeah, we hope to see you Saturday, but if not Saturday, definitely at the next town hall in the spring. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.